Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I am your host Pierce, alongside my good co-host Rose and Dylan. How are we doing today? Because nothing happened today. I assume it was a nice, peaceful day for everyone here.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, especially as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Completely normal and enjoyable day. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Before we get all that, Rose, how you weren't here with us when the thing trademark went down. How do you feel
Mhm.
about Blackhawks getting first overall pick with
Uh,
related to Connor Bedard?
Pretty fucking happy. Pretty stoked. I'm not sure what else to say besides I'm still shocked. I don't. It doesn't. I don't think it's going to sink in until I see him at training camp. For anybody,
Not
right?
even then. Playing a regular season game, and
With
even then, I don't know
how
if that would properly sink in.
with how the season ended and how we as fans as the whole fan base how the whole fan base handled it. I don't think any of us thought we were going to get the first overall pick. I don't think anybody was certain of that. So I'm still blown away. Just
Were your
excited to
socks
see
blown
it.
away as well? Would you say?
Yeah.
Would you
What's
say
that?
your socks were blown away as well? Were they
My
blown right
socks
off your
definitely
feet
were
when it
blown off.
happened?
I definitely did not have socks on my feet after that happened. I can confirm that. Yes.
Were they just obliterated to dust because
Oh,
that's how hard they were blown off?
like they were hit by a Connor Bedard wrist shot, completely gone.
Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. what? I love the NHL, you guys. Just one day we see all the terrible refing around the game, and you know what it is? It's just like you see a dumpster fire, and then someone else says, "Wait, look over here," and then sets a building on fire. That building on fire is the Arizona Coyotes, and then you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, say, "Wait, no, 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 look at us," and it's a plane crashing right into that firing building. Like I
I,
love the NHL, you guys.
my favorite part is just we literally had almost a 5 overtime game last night, and that's not even the
Oh,
third thing on the fucking docket today. Because this league is such a fucking gong show. It's unbelievable. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah.
Where do you
Arizona.
want to start? Because there's like 3 spots we could
I
start.
literally
And they're
just
all
go-
terrible.
we're
So
just-
let's go. Honestly, let's go from like least worst to worst. And least worst I think is the Leafs. So let's start there.
Yeah, I mean
Yes,
that's
and
not
as
even
soon
a
as
that happens,
someone
if, if
hissing
if you're a
himself,
Leafs fan, it
so.
sucks. I mean that's harmless news. We can talk about that. Kyle Dubas. May I start, please?
Of course.
No.
Yeah, I know.
No, just kidding.
Manners are manners. Let me enjoy my Raising Cane's lemonade.
Better not chew with your mouth
Really?
open again.
No,
No, that shit actually
hey,
pissed me
hey.
off earlier. Like that's a pet peeve of mine. Chew with your mouth closed.
We don't need to go into that.
Talking about etiquette on the PJS cast today, class. Let's go.
But I mean, I don't know. Bad move. Wrong guy. I don't think that they're necessarily needed to be a firing on any front of the Leafs management, coaching, anywhere. But if you were going to tag anybody, I would have gone for Sheldon Keefe. It just seems year in, year out, I don't think he's a bad coach, but I don't think he's a coach that's going to get you far. He's continually outcoached by who we'd be talking about. Now, he was mostly outcoached by John Cooper. Leafs, they clawed their way out of that series. We all know that. I know that. I'm still happy for the win, but that's how they did it. Continue to get outcoached by Paul Maurice in 2023. That's not ideal. Not ideal at all, especially to an 8 seed team. I think you can go away with Keefe. That's fine. You also could keep him. That's fine too. I don't think there needed to be anything happening here. Now you get rid of Dubas. He built this entire team. Sans Matthew. I'm not gonna
Sans Matthew, not Matthews, just some guy named Matthew.
forget. Yeah, oh yeah, Matthew. Yeah, Sans Matthews, Nylander, and he wouldn't have been there for Marner. Everything around this team has been him, and it just seems to always come down to the guys in the locker room, whether it's the coach or the players. I have never had an issue with this team in terms of its build-up. The roster is fine. And you got rid of the guy who made that roster. I don't know how to feel about it, man. I don't know.
Can I throw some stats out real quick?
Sure.
Whoa, some stats?
So I want y'all to guess what Kyle Dubas's average point total was in his 5 seasons as GM. For like team standings point total.
105.
Right on the money. 105 points. Or it might have been 106 actually, because their season high beforehand was 105, which she AGM.
That was completely off the dome, by the way.
Either way, over 100 points consistently on a year-by-year basis is incredible.
Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
Where the Lightning have won 2 cups and Boston's won 2 President's Trophies in that time. That is downright impressive. And if we're going to go out there, Florida won a President's Trophy in between there too. And Tampa won a President's Trophy. Dubas hasn't won every trade. No GM wins every trade. No. I just want to, find me Yzerman's lost trades. Sakic's lost trades. Sakic just gave up a second for Lars Eller, and he's got to pay him for 3 more years, and they lost in the first round this year. Sorry, people lose trades. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Where my issue with all this comes, because from everything I've read, and from what all the reporters are saying right now, it sounds like Brandon Shanahan made another knee-jerk decision for this organization again. And for an organization that is so touted as a process-oriented, calculated decision-making, 2 of the biggest decisions I've seen them make in the last, 5-6 years have been knee-jerk or have been something that has been predecessed off of a 1-game situation, which is also knee-jerk, if we're being honest. That's an emotional reaction to a singular game.
Absolutely.
They were ready to extend this guy after the Tampa series. That is well documented. And then Kyle Dubas comes
contract offer for him. Yeah.
And Kyle Dubas comes out and answers a question from Chris Johnston about if he would still take the GM job, and he displays a legitimate concern for his family's mental health and his own mental health and how it's affecting his family, which is extremely valid. You can understand that from any normal human being can understand that. But you remember it's the NHL and everyone's robots, and apparently that's a ploy to go against Shanahan after he stuck up for you 9 years ago. Because that's the new thing that's getting dragged around now. Because I'm sorry, everything I've seen is that's a knee-jerk decision from Shanahan. He was, from what it sounded like, he was in the car ride home on Thursday. He heard Dubas's quote, and he said, "No, we're going a different direction." And you really and he went out of his way to say experience. He went out of his way to stress how Dubas went to the public to say that and not to him. Oh my God, I'm not saying it's the same type of thing, but this is giving me war flashbacks to when Quenneville and Bowman would have dick swinging contests.
I was going to bring
We're going to talk about them later. They both stink, but when the Hawks were at their peak, those two would disagree all the time and had terrible communication.
Winning cures all.
And it led to the downfall of this organization. The Leafs are about to put themselves in that same situation with a new voice behind the table. Or the new voice is just going to be a puppet for the president, which I don't know which one's worse. That's my 2 cents on it. What about you, Bruce?
Well, yeah, Maple Leafs are kind of going through that same thing as the Blackhawks did. Difference is Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups, and how many playoff series have the Toronto Maple Leafs won? Not only in this whole Matthews era, since the first lockout, in 2004. How many playoff games beyond the second round or beyond the first round have they won?
I hate the game. This is not a fun game.
I don't like this kid named.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not a fun game. No. What were you going to say, Pierce? Sorry.
Well, Kyle Dubas, he was hired by this organization all the way back in 2014. That is almost 10 years ago. Now, the Maple Leafs hired Lou Lamoriello, I believe, a year later, and they brought in Mike Babcock. And you can say whatever the hell you want about Lou Lamoriello, Mike Babcock. They changed the Maple Leafs organization forever. The Maple Leafs are joke of a franchise. People would not come to – people would come to the games, but the atmosphere would be horrible because, the team just absolutely stunk, all the off-ice issues that happened. But ever since Lou came in that year, same with Babcock, they changed the team culture. And then you make the playoffs, your first year with Matthews, first year with Nylander and Marner, and everything's all good. You lost in the first round to the Washington Capitals, 6 games. It was a genuine, honest, hard-fought playoff series. You can tip your cap and be okay, we'll get them next year. And then 2018 comes.
Yeah, that fear came eventually.
2018 comes, lose to the Bruins 7 games. I mean, shit happens. It's a 7-game series. You were down 3-1. Yeah, you had a 4-3 lead in the third period. Like, shit happens. It's hockey, but as soon as Kyle Dubas took over in 2018, his first major thing was the William Nylander contract, and he let that drag all the way up to like the last minute. And not only did Nylander do that, but Matthews did that. Well, Matthews didn't do that, but
Marner sure did.
Marner the next year, and then the whole thing. 2019, you lose to the Boston Bruins in the first round. I think
had a 3-2 series lead going home in that, by the way.
Well, you know what?
I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to make this point. This is where everything starts to go off the rails. Is right at like 2018. I'll even chalk up. They're young. That's like Matthew's second year in the league. That's the year they got Tavares.
That's where I feel like they lost all the baby fat. Like, it's not cute anymore. 2 years in a row, you've lost.
That was another collapse. It was a collapse. It was not. You didn't just get stomped on. Whatever. You collapsed. You had a chance to close it out at home. You didn't do it. You go to Boston.
Worst game of the series by far, and Babcock got his ass handed to him on a silver platter by Bruce Cassidy that game.
And they brought him back.
Because he was so good in Game 5, they played a tight Game 5 on the road. Again, this is the whole kind of thing of it, process-oriented. Like, based off one game, you bring Mike Babcock back. Despite you look at the other games they played in that series, evidence probably shows you should move on and give Sheldon Keefe a chance and let him have his first training camp, like the whole year to himself, kind of like the problems the Blackhawks had with Colleton. But anyways, still on the Leafs here. You go into the season, you trade Nazem Kadri, and again, we bring up, like, GMs cannot win every trade. Whatever. Like, what happened has happened, but they get off to an abysmal start. Babcock gets fired. They replace him with Keefe, and then they're kind of just a middling team. And then a once in a lifetime thing happens to sports, hockey, and the entire world: COVID. And again, you're process oriented up to this point, but I feel this is where things start to change. You signed Mitch Marner with a contract extension with the assumption that the cap would go up, and again, it's not Kyle Dubas' fault that a pandemic happened. It's not Mitch Marner's fault or anyone else's. Like, shit happens in life. You gotta overcome. You gotta adapt. And past a few years, like, they've lost in the qualifying round, they lost in the first round, and then they finally win a playoff series in almost 20 years, and they just piss all that goodwill they got from the fan base in 1 week. And Kyle Dubas is a great general manager. I think he's going to go somewhere else, and whatever team picks him up, it might not be right away. Like, again, this is a guy, say whatever the hell you want about him. He is a passionate guy. He loves his players, loves his guys, as Steve Dangle said, but I think that might be, right now, his ultimate undoing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. We look at teams that struggled for how many years to get over the hump and win a Stanley Cup. Like, look at the Washington Capitals. Look how many, yes, you kept Backstrom and Ovi, but you had to shuffle the deck so many times to find players that finally clicked right and win a Stanley Cup. Like, they had Mike Green in the early, 2010s. How many goals did they go through? They went to, Varlamov, they went to, Holtby, and then they went to Grubauer, back to Holtby. Michael Neuvirth, that is so right. Like, how many players did they had to shuffle through, and then they finally got it right in 2018 and won. Kind of same thing with St. Louis. Like, they got rid of, not their franchise guys like Ovechkin and Backstrom are, but they got rid of guys like TJ Oshie and Backus who were drafted in St. Louis, and they got new guys like Tarasenko. They kept him, but then they got guys like Ryan O'Reilly, and they won a Stanley Cup. Like, you gotta adapt. You gotta change things. And Sheldon Keefe. Kyle Dubas loves Sheldon Keefe. That's his guy. Kyle Dubas gets all the Sioux Greyhound players, and that's fine. Every GM, I think, is going to have that, a bias.
Every GM has a bias.
That's part of part of sports is biasness. Whether you work there or cheer for a team, that's the whole part of being in the business. But of course, you gotta minimize that bias, or else things will get out of control, and you're not gonna build a good team. And the big thing is, he hitched his wagon to the big core four, whatever the hell you want to call it: Matthews, Nylander, and Marner. Now, I think they're all tremendous players. Like, newsflash, I know, crazy. Like, a guy who scored at a 60-goal pace for, 3 straight seasons. Yeah, he's a good player. A guy who's a Selke nominee, and, like, a guy who's going to hit 100 points one day. Like, he's hit, 98, 99 points. William Nylander, who just gets, for whatever reason, shit on.
He gets better and better every year, too, which is incredible.
He performs in the playoffs, but he's probably going to be the casualty because 1 year left, cheap contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only. Okay, well, actually, I don't know now, because if Dubas was still here, I would have just agreed, Pierce. I think Marner's going to be the casualty. You have to move him before that no move kicks in, before July 1st. Like, this is the time. But now that they got a new guy coming in, I think you're right. It is going to be Nylander. It's the easiest one to move. Tavares isn't going to move. You're dooming the franchise if you get rid of Matthews. I'm sorry. Like, that's just a spit in the face to whoever wants to sign there.
That's your number one priority is Austin Matthews, and the guy who loves him.
What?
Do you say they're dooming the franchise?
The fact that you cut off Pierce for that,
yeah,
like, God.
Okay, you know what?
Like, I thought you were going to say something. I thought you were actually going to contribute. And it's like, oh, no, we're Dubas. No, shut up. Like, I'm trying to make a point here. Fucking.
I was trying to make a point.
Now, please make your point. Thank you.
Typical laughs, fan, making it all about themselves. I don't remember what I was going to say now.
I wanted to cut off. Yeah, let me be. Let me be my. Okay, let's hear it.
I legitimately forgot what I was going to say.
Well, they're not moving that.
All I wanted to say was, like, you have to make Matthews your priority, whoever the new guy comes in. I don't care if you have to pay him $14 million.
Yeah.
That's the situation
you
you're
pay
in right
good
now.
Players.
Your hands are tied, no matter what.
Austin Matthews holds all the leverage. He is that.
He could
best
walk
player
you to free agency after July 1st if he wants to.
He is the best player that's ever put on that Maple Leafs jersey in over 100 years. If you're Austin Matthews right now, do you want to stay with the Maple Leafs? Like, if Kyle Dubas is still here, that's his guy. You probably stay. You probably work something out. But do you want to stay for a franchise that hasn't gone on a deep playoff run, and now you don't even know who your boss is now? Like,
Dude could go play in LA, get a fraction of the media coverage in a good way, and probably be better if you wanted to.
Oh, easily.
He could go to Florida. He can go to Tampa. He could go
Chicago.
He can go to Dallas. Yeah, he can go to Chicago. Like,
you can go anywhere else.
Chicago could pay him $15 million, and no one would bat an eye.
Yeah.
And he would get paid absurd, and he would get marketed out the wazoo with Bedard. He has all the options in the world right now. The world is Matthews' oyster. I just can't believe they didn't give it to Shanahan, guys. Like, how long is this guy's leash with the board? He's made it through 3 GMs now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Why did the guy who gave Dubas a chance in the first place over Lou Lamoriello, why does he get to stay out of all of this?
Why does he get to pick the new guy even?
Yeah, you head away from the media, and then he finally comes out, and there was obviously bad blood there because Dubas didn't sign an extension. They used to hang out in the press box with each other, all that good stuff. But now there wasn't even that this year. So again, you can find faults in any general manager. Like Kyle Dubas, the big thing with him was that he hitched his wagon to Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares, which, I mean, it's not a bad bet, but when you're losing in this fashion for how many years in a row, things got to change here. And ultimately, and when he was in his press conference, he was like, yeah, I'd be open to trading away these kind of guys. Obviously he didn't say, yeah, I'm going to trade Mitch Marner, I'm staying now, but I think Kyle Dubas is the guy who's willing to adapt and learn. And again, I feel he might not get scooped up right away, but there is an NHL team that's going to scoop him up as general manager, and they're going to love it.
He's got a job easy as anybody.
He's going to take the year off, but he's going to get hired somewhere next year. Not a doubt in my mind. It would honestly not surprise me if some organizations, now that Dubas' name is out there, they're going to make a lateral move this offseason just so they could go get him in a year.
It's like a head coach getting fired. Like, you're looking for your head coach, and then a top name gets fired. Like, it was like last year when Bruce Cassidy got fired. You're like, okay, we're looking at these guys. You're, holy shit, Bruce Cassidy's on. Like, you got to change everything and make that your number one priority if Kyle Dubas is on the market. He's that good.
Colorado was going to pick him up if they didn't give him the job 5 years ago. People forget that. And I think Colorado has made very well, or I think they've at least shown that their brain trust is moving in the right direction. The league, they're moving in the direction that the league is going. So the fact that they would want to pick up a talent like Dubas should show you that people are going to be interested. I think Pittsburgh's already. He wasn't even a month ago. I think they stated interest about Dubas, and Dubas was in the playoffs. Like, he's going to get interest, and I just don't think he's going to go anywhere this year. That's my thing.
And that's well within his right. Like,
100%. And my thing is just coming from an organizational perspective. How do you stall that for a year? Do you just like make the president the GM like temporary, or I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard to stall your organization for a year and then make the move. You know
that's
what I
the
mean?
thing. He has. Yeah, he can do whatever the hell he wants. Really, I think he's earned out. At least in our eyes.
His track record, his regular season track record speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't play on the ice for them in the playoffs. So
what did we say? Kyle Dubas assembled the best ever team of losers.
The worst thing he did was just not buy hard enough at the deadline a couple of times, and it wasn't.
Did this year.
Sure did this year, but it was never. That team didn't need pieces. That team should have been able to win in the first round without that. Before then, not excusing it. This team
every other year I agree with you. This year I think the moves are warranted, especially after, I don't know, the last couple of years of Tampa loading up, Boston loading up, and Florida loading up.
Well, this year, fantastic deadline. Loved it.
But like 2021, I get where you're coming from.
21 and 20 I was not very moved. Regardless, this team should not have lost 6 first rounds in a row. Regardless, they did not need help that badly. This is not on him.
Yeah,
it's not on him at all. And it's I at first it didn't it for whatever reason it didn't bother me that much. I thought, well, if you look at Vezina Toskala's page, you reach out to Eric Polsky. That's obviously the answer. But it didn't. I don't know why, but the more I think about it, the more I hate it. Especially the way Shanahan handled it.
Yep.
Oh, we're back in Boys Club, baby.
It's just it's pity. It's what it is. It's just it's playground stuff.
You know what it is? And who was it? Like Snipe Sternberg or whatever on Twitter. I think he said it best. This is just an episode of Succession right now. Like, if you watch Succession, what happens in that show is someone gets their feelings hurt and they make a decision that costs the company millions of fucking dollars. Brendan Shanahan got his feelings
hurt. Arizona
hurt.
Coyotes. Oh, wait.
Oh, do we want to segue now? We could segue.
No,
I'm ready to
I
want
to finish this up.
All right. Sorry. I'll let you close out. But I just wanted to say, like, that this is just a Succession episode right now. It's fucking insane.
Really is.
Sorry, Pierce.
Well, again, like, Kyle Dubas is not a perfect player, but he did everything. He poured his heart and soul that team. Like, that could have not been an easy decision. Again, those are his guys, but it just didn't work out. And I look at Matthews, Marner, Nylander. I was specifically Matthews and Marner in the what is it called? Like the locker room clean out. Too much. There wasn't enough. I need to be better. It was too much. Oh, we're gonna be here. We have years in our contracts. Like, what I get with the Maple Leafs with those main players is they're too complacent. Like, one part is like they're too complacent, like they're too comfortable, but then another part is like they don't look really that happy playing the game of hockey. Like, someone like Mitch Marner, someone like Austin Matthews, you should revel playing in that spotlight, playing for a Stanley Cup in Toronto. They just look so uncomfortable all the time. Like, look at the Florida Panthers, man. They were down 3-1 against the Bruins, came back and won. They beat the Leafs in 5 games, and then they won a game that almost went 5 overtimes, and they're having fun with it. Like, I haven't seen the Leafs had fun with that, whether that's the coaching or the actual players. Like, I don't know, but all I can think of, like, I'm not saying you have to at least do your due diligence and look at exploring trading Mitch Marner not because, like he's such a damn good player, but like if there's another,
he gets you the biggest haul.
If there is another player out there, like I think the big thing is now we're gonna look like everyone's like, oh, the Kawhi trade for the Raptors. I think everyone's gonna be looking now at like, oh, the Matthew Tkachuk trade.
You can't just make it that. You can't just say that it's that because it's Toronto. This is a completely different situation. The Raptors didn't build.
Kawhi Leonard's don't grow on trees. Matthew Tkachuk's don't grow on trees. That's the problem.
That Kawhi Leonard is like that trade is.
Sorry. Say what you were going to say about Kawhi Leonard. Real quick.
You don't just get a trade like that. Just like that. That's for Toronto history, for Toronto sports history. That's legendary. You pick up Kawhi Leonard.
For basketball sports history, that's huge. He got traded and won a chip the next year.
He literally went there on the final year. His contract did not give a fuck. Carried that team to an NBA championship and then left. But
you don't hear
Raptors fan will love him because he won. Like he had no emotions while he's doing it. He did not care at all. But he played basketball because he's so damn good at it, and he carried them to a championship and then left.
He just looks like he doesn't care.
All I was gonna say though, when I like had like a little like brain blast, was like it just made me think of the huge discourse everyone was having about like, oh, should they do a Tom Wilson for William Nylander trade? Like that doesn't help you. Did Stan Bowman just enter the room and pick up the phone? Like, what is that? And the worst part is there's Capitals fans saying they wouldn't take that trade, which like any Caps fan saying they wouldn't take that trade, give your head a shake. This guy is coming off a torn knee, and he played 20 games last year. I don't care if he's your future captain. You could get an 80-point winger in his prime for him. You make that trade 10 times out of 10. Oh, and did I also mention Wilson's on the wrong side of 30? I don't know, man. Like, if that's what you think's going to put you over the hump, you're so far behind the curve. It's not even funny.
Where are we here? Wait, where did that come from, Wilson Nylander?
Oh, it was a Capitals page that recommended it, and all the Capitals fans hated it, and all the Leafs fans hated it for completely different reasons. Leafs fans with the brain were like, why are we giving up an 80-point player for a guy coming off knee surgery? Capitals fans are just like, we can't give up our future captain. How could we do this? Tom Wilsons don't grow on trees, which in like that part is true to an extent. But that doesn't mean you don't give him up for an 80-point winger. Like, give your heart a shake.
He's growing on his own tree, but he's shriveling up. He's on the wrong side of 30 with a knee injury. That's all you need to know.
On the bright side for Leafs fans, you should only have like 6 weeks of this. So
that's to me, that's the big thing is you get rid of Kyle Dubas. Now what? What do you do? Like, who's going to be the GM? Do the main big players want to stay even? Like, what the hell is going to happen? There's 6 weeks till the draft, till free agency. Better figure it out quick. Exactly.
I just gave him an extra week in free agency just because I figured, the Tkachuk trade happened like 2 weeks.
Either way, not a lot of time. Like, that's a month and a bit. Like, it'll be there in the snap
to make like franchise-altering decisions. Because no moves are kicking in. Extensions need to be made. Need a coach, probably. Need a GM. Still got to draft people.
Yeah, like, that little caveat.
Yeah, keeps out the door.
Hey, look on the bright side. At least you have an arena. How about that? At least you have a home. At least you have a home.
Segue.
Oh, fucking segue, baby. Here we go. Let's talk about everyone's favorite gong show that I'm supposed to feel bad.
Arizona Coyotes.
Can I just start off by saying anyone who says I need to feel bad? No, I don't, dude. They had 25 years to figure this shit out. Sucks. Sorry. Like, the fans, sure, I feel bad for it to an extent. You could still go root for the team in Salt Lake City. Half the Coyotes fans I talk to don't even fucking live there. So this has no preference to you. Unless they blow the team up, which they're never going to do. They're just going to simply relocate it like they've done 1,000 times. Look at how fast the Thrashers moved to Winnipeg.
I still can't believe that happened. A team went back to Canada. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Within a month, they made that decision. Don't tell me they can't make that decision as quick. Like, Salt Lake City is already knocking on the door for a team.
The owner of the Jazz was like, yeah, it's in motion.
They
like,
met with the governor of the board.
Yeah.
They met with the board of governors. Sorry.
You got Patrick Mahomes calling for Kansas City on Twitter.
I'm sorry, man. They don't like.
I don't know what is.
Maybe I will say this. All I'm gonna say is a team deserves a shot in Arizona. This management group does not. They've had their chance. Give it to someone else.
Maybe it's just simply not meant to be right now. Maybe in like another 10, 15, 20 years, yeah, but just...
If you can get the deal in Scottsdale, cool.
Right,
but you haven't gotten it for 20 years, so don't know.
The whole problem, like, since we've started this podcast, I think every year we've talked about the stuff that the Coyotes had gone through, whether that's drafting Mitchell Miller. There were that whole segment on, like, I forget. Like, there's so many, like, again...
They don't pay their bills. They don't pay taxes. Like, this shouldn't exist right now.
No.
Whatever.
It really should.
NHL. Oh, the NHL. Shouldn't.
And, like, they've enabled this for 25 years. Like, they were talking about bankruptcy with this franchise as, like, as recent as 15 years ago. Like,
what other league has had this?
I can't.
Really?
The closest thing I can think right now is what's happening with the Athletics in Oakland right now. Like,
I actually am not very informed on that. Would you mind talking about that?
Well, I don't know much about, like, again, when we talk about these kind of things, I don't know much about, like, the economical side of things, but
the political side of things or whatever.
The Oakland Athletics, like, everyone knows that the Athletics are Moneyball. Like,
yeah.
The Oakland Athletics are a long storied franchise. Like, this team was in Philadelphia, I think, and Kansas City for over 100 years. This is a team that's been around since the turn of, I think, the 20th century. They have won, I think, 9 World Series, and they've been to a bunch more than 9 World Series. And as of, like, the last 20 years, they haven't really spent any money. And obviously that's where Moneyball came from, like, introducing analytics to sports. And the Oakland Athletics even had decent teams as, like, recent as 10 years ago, and even, like, a few years ago. Like, they had a bunch of guys, but then they just traded them for absolutely nothing. And then you wonder why the fans aren't showing up and have a disdain for the team. And then now the owner's threatening to move to Vegas. Like, I still don't know if it's a done deal or not, but I just... Everything about, like, the team sucks. No, like, they don't have any prospects. Like, there's nothing to look forward to. The Oakland Coliseum where they play is awful. Like, it's all run down. Like, I think one of the broadcaster booths had, like, a possum family in it or something. Like, it's an absolute gone show. That's the only other thing I can compare to the Arizona Coyotes right now.
They're not a serious team.
No, either the Athletics or the Coyotes. And again, like, it's another thing. I feel horrible.
The Athletics shit, yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad for the fans because, again, like...
Yeah, I had to describe the Athletic situation. And, yeah, all I'm going to say is I want a possum family. That's awesome. That's adorable.
I call the big one Bitey, as they said in The Simpsons.
And, like, it's not just that they can't get an arena, right? It's not just that. It's not just that the ownership is questionable at best. It's the fact that now you're going to, not that they already haven't, like, set the franchise back 5 years with some of the moves they've made.
Oh, at least. Yeah.
You're going to set them back more. Logan, did you see that post by Byron Beta today? I'm pretty sure. Logan Cooley is the first player in NCAA history that's a top 10 pick to have 50-plus points or whatever in his D+1 year to go back to school.
You want to
go
know
back
why?
to junior or not go pro.
Because the arena he's playing in with Minnesota is bigger than the one he'll be playing with in Arizona.
And gets more fans, and he'll get more appreciation for what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Clayton Keller just met with the management today. You think that guy's not going to ask out if he doesn't know what the direction is?
Yeah.
Dude, they're about to be in a bad situation. Like, you can have the nicest young core ever. You could have all these prospects. None of them might. We're kind of seeing it. They're like, show me why I should sign here right now.
You can't even manage your own. You can't justify your team's existence, your franchise's existence. Who gives a fuck about prospects? Sorry, who cares? Like, what? Matthew McConaughey, Wolf of Wall Street. It's nothing. It's fairy dust in the wind. It doesn't matter when you don't have a team to put them on. Come on now.
Okay, I agree with that. My only thing is you need to care about the fairy dust when the fairy dust can turn into actual diamonds, and you're gonna let it.
Oh, you should care. It is that because they don't care.
Yeah,
They
no,
don't.
they can't care because they got bigger shit on the table.
Yeah. Well, they're not. They can't. Oh my goodness. They're going on Twitter and joking around and rickrolling people, and what an unserious franchise.
Come on, they're
No, guys. Oh, guys, they're getting engagement rates up. I don't care. They're moving to Salt Lake City in 6 months. All this shit that they're doing is just gonna make their fans hate them more down the road. I promise you, that's all it's gonna do. I hope they got 20,000 likes on that post. Let's just put it that way. I want you to leak those fucking plans that aren't gonna happen again, just so you could give your fan base one last glimpse of hope before you what's left of the fan base and stab them in the heart one last time on the way out. You useless organization. Unbelievable. And I can't believe there were people that were advocating for this franchise to get Connor Bedard less than a month ago. Give your head a shake. Yeah, they were going to put a generational talent in a market where they don't even have an arena.
Well, yeah, guys,
Connor Bedard's
going to pull an Eric Lindros in Chicago.
Yeah, he's not going to sign in Chicago, guys. He's going to go to a team that deserves him. Give your fucking head a shake, people. For 5 seconds. That's all I ask.
It did get 20K likes, by the way.
Good. I cannot wait till the plans get leaked.
This is what they responded with.
Yeah, they're not funny.
Wow.
They're not funny.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You're moving to Kansas City. You suck. You're a joke to every sports league in the fucking world. Like, I have seen single-A baseball teams that I've worked for get run better than that. And they pull more of a crowd. The fans, I feel terrible for. Like I said, it sucks. It sucks to watch your team.
It's not like when we say Arizona doesn't deserve a hockey team.
Talking about the fucking management. Sorry.
We're talking purely from that aspect of things. Like, if the Jets did not get moved to Phoenix, Arizona, whatever, the Coyotes, there would be no Austin Matthews, there is no Matthew Nyes.
There's no Tage Thompson, dude. There's so many good players coming out of Arizona.
It's not like it's all been bad, but then when you're doing this for a quarter century and nothing's changing, when do we say, guys,
it's 3 stars for other teams? Your franchise itself is a joke.
They drafted the kid of a guy who's... Whatever, dude. I can't. I just feel terrible for the prospects. I feel bad for the fans. I feel bad for the players. They're all screwed. Their fucking rocket is strapped. They strapped themselves to a rocket that is literally blowing up from both engines. And you have to wonder if these guys think sometimes, am I actually going to get all the money in my contract this year? How did they make enough money last year? Honestly, sponsorships be damned. It's a joke, man. It's a joke.
How they play all their players is crazy, and also not to mention all the players they've traded for LTIR. Again, not that Arizona's the only offender of it. It's across the entire league. It's a joke. But
you can't tell me hockey doesn't work out west. Vegas, it's working. LA, it's working. Seattle, it's working.
They're just
in Salt Lake City, I bet it pops. Plus, Salt Lake City is Mormon City, so let's be oh my god, it's a bunch of white people on the ice. We're gonna fucking lose it. Jesus. Very bad comment there. My apologies, but fuck.
I don't think that's offending anybody.
You know what I mean, though. It's just there's so many other markets that you can try out, and you're gonna strap your fucking to this team, dude.
Well, in the arena, once again, arena placement was never good. It wasn't good. What was it?
Because you were playing in Glendale, which is an hour out of the city.
It's I've been to that stadium before. It is in the middle of nowhere. Granted, they eventually built a nice area around it, but it's literally in the middle of a desert.
When you're building when you're putting a bad product on the ice,
committed to the desert,
and it's in middle of the season, January, February. Who the hell is going to want to go to the game? 25 years of this, man, and more.
Yep, and
crazy.
Our entire life. Find a way.
at all.
Entire lives, like pretty much our entire lives, like the Coyotes have been in financial trouble and nothing's changed, and like we don't know what the hell is what's happening. Like if they're relocated, they want to play at Mullet Arena, but unserious league, honestly. Such a horrible sport.
Yeah, the end of
such a horrible league. Great sport. We could be talking about the great 4 overtime game that happened yesterday, but no. Like again, look at me. I lit this building on fire after you lit your dumpster on fire. Like you did something bad. Oh, just you wait. That's the NHL.
That's sad, man.
Matthew Tkachuk is we can talk about that.
Talk about what? Wait, what?
Matthew Tkachuk is him, and I mean, aside from what Draisaitl was doing, he got to be the most impressive playoffs of any player for me. I mean,
and
Roope Hintz has been fucking amazing too.
Oh, he's right behind it. I don't think Tkachuk
he's ahead of him.
Yeah. Tkachuk doesn't even lead the league in points at the moment, but what he's done with his team is insane. I mean, the whole team deserves credit. Bobrovsky deserves a ton of credit. I think he's been given. It seems he's been given that, if not that. Needs his flowers this playoffs at least. I mean, he has been fantastic. But Tkachuk is that is a man determined if I've ever seen it. It's really incredible what he's been doing with this team.
The only man that
he's got a death wish.
The only man that got nominated for a Hart Trophy and is still in the playoffs past the second round.
Be like that.
Got the overtime.
You know, the Boston Bruins end up Nick Cousins, so they're not.
You know what the 2023 Florida Panthers kind of remind me of? They remind me of the 2017 Nashville Predators.
They remind me of the 2021 Habs.
Nah, I think
it's between both.
No, I'm just being mean. No, you're more right. It's the Preds, but
just with a team that's just always struggled in the playoffs. Like their only good run was 1996, and again,
does that mean Bobrovsky's insanity run is coming to an end?
He's literally on his Pekka Rinne run right now.
Well, he's not. Like we all know this. He's going to turn back into a pumpkin next year. Just ride it out this playoffs. He does this sometimes. He's doing it.
Dude, write it out to a cup. No one cares that you paid him $70 million.
I was gonna say he's earning right now. He's earning every single penny of that contract at the moment.
Yeah.
What do we say? Winning heals everything.
It always does.
They stole game 1 on the road in Carolina, and Carolina's no slouch either. They're a pretty good team. I've actually been very impressed with the Hurricanes, how they've gotten over the hump, and I mean they still haven't won a game past the second round, but like just how they beat the Islanders and dominated the Devils. Like it seems like they've gotten better as the playoffs have gone on. It's quite impressive. But Florida, man, they just might have it. This team that won the President's Trophy last year, got swept in the second round, is now 3 wins away from a Stanley Cup final. It's crazy.
Yeah, they deserve their credit 100%. They're playing 4-line hockey right now, and not a lot of teams can say that usually.
There's no one that looks out of place or is like dogging it. Like everyone's giving 110% effort right now, from the goalie to the all the defensemen and all the forwards. I just
can't believe their back end's getting it done to an extent. Like
Bobrovsky helps a lot, but yeah, like they're not. The thing with the Panthers is they're a very opportunistic team. Like you look at the win to deserve meter, like you're never gonna see them at.
They don't have the puck.
Yeah, but when you like turn it over, give it to them, they make you pay.
Well, that's what Toronto did in the first round, and met another.
And then the Panthers beat them at their own game. That's what.
Yeah, I was gonna say they did exactly what they did, but much better. It worked out for them.
Also, Matthew Tkachuk scoring that goal with like 12 seconds left in the fourth overtime.
The turnaround snipe too.
Yeah,
just I mean, like I said, not leading the league in points, but plays like that. The big game would be Game 5 OT winner in Boston. Game 4 or Game 1 quadruple overtime winner. I mean, come on. I mean,
sixth longest game in NHL history.
He's been a clutch, to say the least.
And then when he like did that sub, he like immediately went off that. He's like, "Okay, guys, yeah, it's cool we won, but I want to go to sleep now.
Yeah.
Get out of here."
Like, let's go to the locker room and celebrate.
Yeah. Well, let's do it while sitting
Jump
down.
around a little bit, get that excitement out. Okay, I gotta. Hey, we gotta go. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
Just all the stuff like the PA announcer for the Hurricanes, like, sorry for this taking so long for the 5th intermission, and he's like, oh, it's the 7th period stretch now.
That's incredible.
I'm not even gonna lie, like, this series is gonna suck for the next 2 games now because of that game. Like,
They emptied it all on that.
Those teams are not young in the slightest. Like, Florida's pacing, I would say, is good, but like, dude, you know how many guys are over 30 on Carolina right now? Like, they probably can't walk this morning, and that's like the highest conditioned dudes in the sport. Game 2 is going to be a slog. Like, I'd be surprised if that game has more than 4 goals total. Honestly,
that's a 2-1 game. That's a 2-1 finished by an empty net 3-1 game.
They played almost 2 more games worth of hockey with that game. Like,
no, they played one. They played an entire game of hockey in a period to boot.
Yeah, it just again like bring it like while you're in intermission break, like you're stuffing your face down with like pizza and any food just to keep you going because it is so strenuous playing that much hockey. Like you can't even catch your breath, you can barely skate. And we saw here's some cool things about what the NHL has done. Like all the stuff where they did were like, oh, Brendan Montour skated a total of 8 miles last night, and then I think I saw Jacob Slavin skated like 9 miles. Like that stuff is cool. Like crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty. It was 8 miles for Montour.
Yeah, and he played like almost 60 minutes. I think he played like 58 or something, or close to it.
Duncan Keith 2.0, am I right?
No.
Love Brendan Montour. He's been excellent these playoffs, but I don't know if we've.
No, sorry. I just want to, like, since we're talking about Duncan Keith, I think maybe laugh harder, like, going into this game 1 than a Canes fan being like, well, Tara Vinan's the reason you guys won the cup in 2015. And I was just like,
what?
I'm just going to, like, hope to God you're trolling. And even if you are, give your head a shake. Because, like, that's not even worth trolling about.
No.
Like, any of the other cup runs, troll about them. I don't care. You cannot take that Duncan Keith Ironman performance away from me in 2015. It's better than almost any defenseman performance I've seen. Like, closest one, and he didn't even win the cup that year, was probably Heiskanen like 3 years ago. He might do it again this year. Team.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. He fucking might do it this year for all we know. But, like, that's the only guy I've seen come close to that sense. Like, Makar didn't even do that last year when they won the cup. Like, he was great.
A lot of points.
Makar's amazing.
Yeah. In terms of playing just a complete two-way game and being out for every big shift, every big penalty goal, every big goal.
He played 30 minutes a fucking game almost. Like, it was insanity. And he was, like, 32. Like, it wasn't young.
That was really him emptying out the tank. Like, he was never really the same.
And then he had to get knee surgery. Yeah. Except he was smart and he got knee surgery when he actually needed it and didn't wait 3 years. You know, we can't say that about other Blackhawks, but it's all right.
All it
One of
reminded
them's
me
coach
of,
now.
Yeah, all it reminded me was all the deep playoffs, like all the multiple overtime games the Blackhawks went to.
We were spoiled.
8-1 in multiple overtime games.
Rotten,
that is actually absurd. That will always blow my mind. 8-1. Just clutch.
I feel like that, if anything, just summarizes what the playoffs are about, though. You have to find that next gear. And something about that team, they were always able to find the next gear. And you can't say that about a lot of teams in the NHL nowadays. Like, Dallas, I think, finds that gear nowadays. Vegas has proven they could find that gear.
Vegas has found that gear, yeah.
Carolina, I would argue, is like, everyone that's left has definitely found that gear this year. 100%. It's 100% argumented. But, like, Vegas and Dallas have been doing it the most, I feel like, out of the West. Just like, oh, you gave us your best shot. We're coming right back with a better one.
Oh, like, the way Vegas shut down Edmonton in Game 6, it was rough because I was really cheering for the Oilers, but like, and Oilers are kind of in the same boat as the Leafs, where it's like you have these two great players and you lose in the second round again. But I feel like with the Oilers, they can right that ship easier than what the Leafs are now, especially what after happened today. Like when you saw the interviews, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid were pissed. They were pissed. Like they're coming back with a vengeance, and I don't even want to know what that looks like because they were amazing this year. And
okay, call me crazy. We always talk about like the Leafs moving a piece and the need a defenseman. And they've talked about how they might not be able to pay him on the Oilers. Do we go like Nylander for Bouchard? Or like Marner for Bouchard? I don't even know how the cap would work with Marner, but like...
It would be the worst move in Edmonton history, but yeah.
Oh, dude, but come on! Nylander with McDavid would be unreal! Oh, then you get Yamamoto back.
Marner's like your future on the back end. I mean, that... You can't get rid of it.
Talks about how they're afraid about his extension. That was before the playoffs. He was arguably their second best player in the playoffs behind
Edmonton's fucking management frustrates me nearly as much as the Leafs says. Oh my goodness.
Imagine. Sorry, Pierce, go ahead.
I was gonna say at least like Ken Holland. I think we saw like Ken Holland, like he might step down. I think Steve Stales, like it's not happening this year, but he might take over as the GM, and I think that could be a good thing for the Oilers. But at least Ken Holland was like, okay, I gotta get some guys this year.
Shouldn't have paid Darnell as much money as he paid Darnell.
There's still work to be done on this team, but again, I feel Edmonton can right this ship way easier than the Leafs can.
Oh no,
you just have to find a way to come around budgeting your number one defenseman, like you said. Like he just gave the money to the wrong guy.
Every year.
Yeah. Oh, that Darnell Nurse con.
No,
Seth Jones ruined the market for defensemen that year.
If you didn't pay Darnell Nurse that stupid money, this Bouchard contract or extension probably isn't as daunting.
Bouchard should get 7x7 or something. That should be what it is. But like, if I'm Bouchard, I have every argument to ask for what Nurse got, and I have better numbers to back it up.
So
and I'm younger.
You gotta hope you get him on.
And right-handed.
I mean,
and I'm right-handed, and I'm 6'3", and I got a rocket. Like he's got a Seabrook-esque one-timer from the point. It's nasty.
He's gonna get an 8x8.
He should. Edmonton should find every way to make that work.
It's not going to be getting rid of Nurse. It's going to be getting rid of somebody else.
Dude, just fucking give the Hawks Cody Ceci for a first. It's not that hard. God, come on.
Throw in Dylan Holloway while you're at it. Or the guy at Montreal Airport. Xavier Barkle, let's go.
Oh, no. My favorite was like, I think it was like the Hockey News posted an article about like the Oilers had to clear cap to basically extend Bouchard. And a Hawks fan just like, I feel like a normal person was like, all right, well, what if we swap like pick 56 and Fogle for pick 65 or something?
Yeah,
and I was like, all right, that's pretty good. Yeah. Every Oiler fan shit on him. They were just like, you think Fogel's a cap dump? Oh my God. It's like newsflash, asshole. When you have no leverage and a guy makes 3.7 mil and can't even crack 30 points. I think he cracked 30 points this year.
He goes. You
guys are in for a long fucking offseason if that's how
you gotta give way to guys like Dylan Holloway. You gotta give way to guys like Xavier Barkle. Like they have, it's not like they're completely flush dry in the like they have guys that can come up. Broberg can take the step too. They just, I think another big thing I didn't really bring up with the Maple Leafs is like making that hard decision. Like not saying they're gonna trade them. I don't even know if they have like movement clauses, but like how do you not look at Zach Hyman or Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and be like, you had career years, your contracts, like they're good players now, but they're gonna be like, you find a way.
Yeah, let's pull up cap friendly. I think they got no moves. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say like obviously there's that caveat, but
this is the best
Oh, no move. No move. And Evander Kane's got a no move. That sucks.
I mean, as much as we can say whatever you want about Evander Kane,
he can still play.
He's got that.
No, but like Nuge having a no move till 2030 is tough.
That's not a real year.
It's not a real year, but yeah, that's when his contract expires. Same with Nurse also.
I believe that
Jack Campbell for 4 more years. I mean, he played well in the playoffs.
Oh, you know what? I said the Darnell Nurse contract was a problem. That Campbell one is worse. Because realistically, what do you give Nurse? I say 6.5, 7? I mean,
How much does Echo make? 6.25, 6.5?
He makes 6 because they retain like 4% or some shit. So like their top 4 paid defensemen are 9.25, 6, 3.275, 2.75, and that's before Bouchard kicks in.
Oh, hell, dude. Hell. You.
Not
This is a stinky defense.
They are projected to have $5 million in cap space this offseason.
Oh, boy.
And they got to re-sign.
CC and Kulak got to go. CC and Kulak need to go.
Oh, Pierce. We want to talk about a name that we might be able to snag off the Oilers, Ryan McLeod. He's an RFA this offseason, too.
I would love him.
Because, like, Costin, I think, earned a contract after the playoffs.
Costin was great, man.
What a great that was another great trade by Holland this year. Costin for Samorukov. I don't know how to say his name, but it's the defenseman.
Yeah.
But, like, Costin's been great for Edmonton, so, like, you got to think he comes back. Janmark,
Draisaitl makes 8.5.
Derek Ryan, 36 years of age. Devin Shore exists. Got to bring back Bukestad somehow if you can, too. I thought he played very well in Edmonton.
Yeah, Fogle makes 2.75. You're gone. You're so gone. Yeah, you're not.
Great. I'd take Fogle, but
yeah, I would too.
Yamamoto's making 3. I'd take Yamamoto too. I don't really care. Yeah, you need to shed money. Come to the Hawks. Let's go. Let's make Sheet League a reality.
Ryan McLeod, I would love Ryan McLeod because he plays exactly the way that Kyle Davidson and Luke Richardson. And he's a center too. And he's like 23, I think.
Like Ryan McLeod, third line center, has a nice ring to it.
Would love him as a 3C, dude. I don't know.
Fuck, he can get top 6 minutes with Gutman.
I was gonna say he could be a second line center this year. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the Hawks roster just cracks me up when you go back.
Sorry, I'm thinking long term. No, right now he's.
Oh, bro, he's gonna go play with Jason Dickinson and Cole Gutman.
He's playing with Jujhar Khaira and Reese Johnson. Baby.
Oh yeah,
I'm coming back because Bedard's wearing 16. Yes, sir. Dude, like
here, Connor. I know you want it. I won't let you down, Jujhar. All right, take it. Number 16.
Like we joke about it, but like Bedard's really going to be the Ferrari in the trailer park this year. It's going to be rough.
It's going
to be like Fields last year, except like Bedard hopefully is just like he's got generational hype. I hope he's. All I ask is you have a better year than what Jack Hughes had in 2019, which I feel like is reasonable.
He at worst is Jack Hughes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way he has a year like. Oh no, I don't know.
He's playing with Taylor Radish. Like, I gotta remember that at some point.
Yes.
Like, they're gonna sign guys, but like,
no,
I get worried about that. Like, I get worried about like we're just gonna play Bedard with Plumbers his rookie year.
Half the team is gonna be Plumbers. They're gonna have a.
That's fine, but you gotta get 2 guys to play with him.
Oh no! I agree. I just. Yeah, what an odd situation. Yeah, Ferrari in the trailer park for sure.
But like, I give David I don't mean to make this about the Hawks right now, but like, I give Davidson credit.
Yeah, you do. Come on, let's talk about the Hawks.
Let's make it about the Hawks. Fuck it. Yeah. Like, I give Davidson credit, right? Because he basically went about this whole year like he wasn't getting 1 or 2. He went about this year like we were picking like 4 or 5. We're gonna get a guy who's a very good player.
Interview where he's like, yeah, I was kind of thinking where I accepted in my mind that we're picking 4 or 5, and you get
he was where we were.
Yeah,
he was exactly where most.
I feel like everyone was in that same book.
Now we're getting 4 or 5. Fuck.
Oh, it's just like, oh man, there's so many options now. There's what you could do in this draft. Like Pierce and I have talked about it. It's like you have 4 seconds to work with. You're not picking 4 second-round players.
No, they're not.
Unless you're the Kraken and you get 4 bangers like they did last year. I'm here for that. But.
And he said it on an interview. He's like, yeah, we're probably not using all our draft picks, which either means he's trading it for a player or moving up or both, because there's 4 second-round picks. If you trade a second to get a player and then 1 to move up, you still got 2 seconds.
I don't know, man. I just see the world where we have Bedard and Gabe Perreault, and it's a fun world. Sorry, Rose. What?
Oh, I was just gonna say Brock Besser. That name has been coming up so much. You guys knocked on that door, or
I take Garland too.
A lot this.
It was both.
You get my thing was a Garland. You could probably get an asset for taking him. So
yeah, I feel like with Besser, like okay, we actually want to get some back. Garland's more like a dump.
Why not both?
I mean, we have the cap.
I mean,
like,
I did
it's
say
11
Yeah,
mil.
I mean, like we just talked about it. You got to fill out that top 6. Why not go get 2 guys?
You're not spending all $41 million in free agency.
You're gonna have Besser on the left side. Or I think he's right wing. You have him on the right. You can throw Kurashev, Reichel on the left. You have so many options at that point. Garland fills out the second line. There's something there.
My only thing with Besser, I don't. Maybe this is just like the caveman brain in me talking, but like I don't want 2 guys who want the puck to shoot on the same line.
I won't lie, as I was talking.
You would want Besser and Bedard on separate lines, so
you
Besser
probably
could,
split them up at least for 5-on-5.
yeah, power play 100%. They're on the ice together.
Yeah,
But, like,
no,
you know what I mean. Like I don't want Besser taking Bedard's shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like let's go get him a playmaker.
I feel like
Rewatching like his Canada highlights, there's his World Junior highlights. I mean, that guy, he takes about 8 shots, 8-9 shots a game. I know it wasn't. No, sorry, shot attempts.
He creates chances like it's going out of style.
And his attempts, like when he misses, it's by an inch. It is by an inch, and that's gonna get better. He's gonna get better.
Pearson and I have talked about this, or I think on the last pod, and it's almost like how Matthews was when he came in the league, because like Matthews didn't really have a one-timer when he came in the league. His thing was just like, I'm gonna snipe you from anywhere.
It was a slingshot. It was a slingshot.
Yeah, and Bedard's thing is like, I'm just going to pick corners everywhere I am, or I'm going to go on my backhand, or I'm going to just – his signature, from what I could tell, is he's either sniping right below or right above the glove on the forehand.
Well,
that's
what's
like
amazing about Bedard's release is that when he shoots, he twists. He kind of twists with the torque of his shot. And so what he does a lot with it is he will I don't know. I've never seen a player do this, and I mean never. His shot form will scream far side, and it'll go short. Like his shot, I went through his junior highlights. I probably could. I could count for sure, but I could go back and count. But just off the top of my head, many times where he shoots at the blocker, goalie's already moving to his glove because he doesn't. I don't know. I've never seen it. His shot form is
unpredictable.
It's unpredictable,
and in the best sense too. Like
I'm mumbling
for the opposing team.
No, dude, you're fucking on it right now, because he's like, the best way I like to describe it is like, we always talk about, like, I feel like or at least when we had Kane, my favorite thing about him was his unpredictability with the puck. Like, you didn't know whether he was going to try to sling one on his backhand across the ice. You didn't know whether he was going to take it to the top of the ice and shoot. You didn't know whether he was going to just shoot the puck at, like, a knuckle puck at you and it was going to go in. That was like his mojo. Bedard's mojo is just like, I can shoot the puck wherever I want, and if I want to hang on an extra second longer, someone's going to get open and I can pass it to him, because his playmaking ability is just as good, which is the scary part.
Like, you could listen, man. If you've played any level of hockey, and I know I'm going to play the game.
If you #played the game,
literally, I'm talking. You play
if Steve Conroy told you had good skating, then you can answer this.
Bingo.
Oh, I'm out.
I know, I am too.
If you play any kind of hockey, everyone knows how hard it is to get a shot through a player. That's not. I feel like a lot of hockey fans seem to think that you can just magically shoot the puck between a player's legs. Like, there's just nothing there. Connor Bedard truly can shoot from anywhere. The way his curl and snap.
Oh, it's Matthews-esque, his curl and drag.
No, there's Matthews-esque. This is another level. Like, my brother put it well. He said it looks like it hurts to shoot like that. But it's not. He's not putting a lot of weight on his shot. He's whipping it. It's like a rubber band.
Mm-hmm.
And there really has never been a player that shoots like him.
I think. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, that's about it. I mean, I was
just gonna say, like, it just reminds me of, like, one of my favorite goals I think I've seen from, like, watching a bunch of his highlights from this last, like, year or so. I think one of my favorite goals he scored was in the World Juniors. I think it was against either Czech or Slovakia. He basically just takes a wrist shot from the left circle. The defender gets his stick on it. Like, this should be a block shot. Any other player. His shot powers through the block stick and goes shelf. Like, how many players can do that? Ovechkin, maybe?
Yeah.
Stamkos, Matthews. That's
you can probably count on
Pasternak,
one.
That's where my list stops, probably.
That's about it.
Fuck, even Draisaitl, I don't think could do that with that kind of power on his shot.
I think
accurate,
Draisaitl might be another one.
There's a lot of Pastrnak and Bedard as well.
Oh, dude, I see it too. Like, Pierce, I see it just, I agree, just in the way he carries the puck. Like, his swagger with the puck is like Pastrnak. I also see a little Braden Point in this game too, I'm not going to lie.
He has that Braden Point feisty. He's kind of like Alex DeBrincat. Like, you look at him, he's only a 5'10" guy, but he's a sturdy 5'10". He's like, he's 185, 190 pounds. He's gonna grow.
No, he's got tree trunks for legs.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't want to fight him. Like, and if you're fighting him, it's not gonna be a fun time.
Anybody who wants to call Bedard smaller, that he won't be able to handle the league because size. I don't think there are many people like that, but if there are any more, but if there are, just look up his junior highlights where he had guys going at him and 5-6 inches taller than him, blowing him up and telling them to get shit on. Literally, you can hear it through the broadcast.
Yeah, there's always like, oh, is he gonna be a center? Because there's no lot of 5'10s. He's being a center, dude. Like, we mentioned all his offensive skill, and I think the big thing is he gets to the inside. He's again built like he has tree trunks for like it's almost Crosby in that way.
That's what I was. Yeah, it's Crosby like, honestly, and he's he's strong on the puck like Crosby too, and McKinnon.
I mean, it really is a Crosby Ovechkin mashup. Is really what this kid is.
I hope so.
There's a lot of players you can compare him to, but like
he's actually like Patrick Kane and McKinnon and McDavid and Austin Matthews, and
he's actually like Keegan Cole. Sorry guys.
Seattle Thunderbirds legend, which by the way, the Seattle Thunderbirds, I believe,
Keegan Cole's was on a fight like a real hockey player, man. Ooh.
And kind of wrap up on Bedard. Like I just want to read the points. Like, we know how good offensively he is. He has all the talent in the world. But the best thing about him is he has the determination to be the best. He's accomplished everything you can as a hockey player at age 17.
He breathes hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And, little happy flex.
He's gonna revel in being the face of the Blackhawks for the next 15, 20 years, even when he's retired. I just want to read some of his stats. This year with the Regina Pats, played 57 games, 71 goals, 72 assists for 143 points.
Is that good?
At the World Juniors, in 7 games, he had 9 goals and 14 assists for 23 points.
Against the best competition of his age in the world.
Even though his team lost in the first round, in 7 games, he carried that team to 7 games, 10 goals, 10 assists for 20 points.
Okay. My last note on Bedard is all I'm going to say is it's one thing to be really good in junior, right? Like, it's one thing to put up points, it's one thing to put up points at the World Juniors. It's one thing to put up points at the WHL. It's a whole other thing to dominate, and this kid is dominated.
Oh, he has done everything you can have done. There's no sending him back at all, and he hasn't.
And he's had all the hype in the world.
He's ready for the NHL. Yeah. Like, he's lived up to every expectation in the world.
Unfazed as hell. It's amazing to see. Also, I love to hear. I think it was Colby Cohen brought it up on Frank Saravalli's show on Daily Faceoff a couple nights ago. I listened to it. He mentioned how it's going to be interesting to see what the Hawks want to do with him. If they just want to say go full offense, be that dynamo, whatever. They also have a coach in place right now to where they could make him one of the best two-way centers in the game if they wanted to. Because he has that capability to be that good defensively.
We think about what Luke Richardson's going to do with the defenseman like Korchinski coming up, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But Luke Richardson with Connor Bedard, Luke Richardson's going to be here for the long haul. He's going to be there when they're back to championships.
He's the coach, man.
Luke Richardson just got the nicest new toy ever. Oh my gosh.
He earned it after last year.
he got a like the ball of clay he got the mold is just made out of emeralds, straight up. Like, he's
actually, if you play Minecraft, it'd be dynamite. You can't really do anything.
Actually, it would be netherite because that's now the new strongest thing. It's not if you would know that if you played the game, okay?
Yeah, okay. That's
my hashtag didn't play.
Anyways,
literally, if you played Minecraft, you would know that. That's all I'm gonna fucking say. Like, I just want to say we got some fucking noobs in this party right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Stan, how do you team a horse Minecraft?
No, but that's enough of it. Like you said, that's enough of us gawking over Bedard.
Dude, we'll not only have up until the draft and in the regular, we're going to be doing, however long we do this podcast, whether that's another few years, 10, 15 years, we'll have all the time to gawk at him.
It's like, the Bedard era, dude.
He's going to be a captain. He's going to be the main guy. and there's actually guys
he's the captain of the Pats, and is he what 17 years old?
Yeah, and like to reiterate the whole Eric Lindros thing, it's not happening. Like I think Mark Lazarus and Scott Powers and a couple other Chicago podcasts had the announcer, like the play-by-play guy for the Regina Pats, and they know those guys like more than anyone. And this, I forget what his name is, but he's been doing he's been doing the announcing for like 30 years. He's like, I've never seen a guy so mature and just so good at hockey, something to that effect. Like there's not enough good there's so many good things to say about Connor Bedard, and he's ours. Like,
I also want to be that guy that's just like, sorry, Rose. Sorry.
Honestly, he's everything the franchise needs in every way, on ice, off ice.
Transformational.
He's exactly what this team needs in being he is a clean slate.
Yeah, and I'm just glad that because like this whole last year they've been trying to as an organization, it's been a culture reset for the Hawks. And now you have, I'm not even going to say he's going to be the face of the culture reset because that's bad. That's not even fair to him because he's a hell of a hockey player. He's good in his own right.
Well, it's not put all the pressure on a guy who doesn't.
No. Yeah. But like it helps that like you're going to ease your fan base into a new era with a new exciting young talent to have. Like it's simple as that. I'm not trying to overhype him in any way. It's just like, let's just be frank. If they were picking 5th this year, it's very hard to tell a fan to go to the game next year.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be.
It's more so business as usual from last year, but without Taser Kane for a full year.
I mean, $5.2 million overnight. Like they're good. And
also, like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but if Rocky gets knee jerky now, it might be a little valid because he's got a Ferrari in the garage. Like, let's start putting some talent around him. But from everything that this organization's put out, it sounds like they're trusting the process still, which that makes me very happy.
Man. Like,
dude, you have so many picks. Just keep loading. Just load up. Mm-hmm. That's all you got to do.
Like they have what they have this year, but you have the 2 first-round picks next year, and then 2 first-round picks after that, and they're gonna acquire more picks. Like who's?
And you have the Leafs first-round pick in 2 years.
Literally, it's Kyle Davidson, order 66.
That's Kyle Davidson's FU from not trading Hagel or not giving us Matt Nyes 2 years prior.
Oh, we'll just get an unprotected first-round pick now.
Then you'll get fired. Oh, God. Yeah. I'm not trying to be that guy. I wonder how he feels about making a little hissy fit about that trade coming out and not making the Hagel trade a couple years ago because your rival got him, and they are way better. You beat that rival this year. Hagel was one of the best forwards in that series.
At this point in time, how much more comfortable do you feel with the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Toronto Maple Leafs at this very moment?
Still the Lightning, and they have the same amount of first-round picks.
That's you're Tampa. You're Tampa. Like at this point, like
Tampa can get better. Tampa can literally take a fat L on the Jeannot trade and be fine. That's how good they are right now.
Oh, they're the only team in the league that earned that benefit of the.
It's a terrible trade, Rose. You're 100% right. Like hindsight's 2020. You can dunk on that trade all you want. I'm just saying Tampa isn't gonna be hurt as much as any other team would be if they fucked up that trade.
They have them for next year too, and like
I can't believe it. I still take a seat back sometimes and just kind of take in. Wow, they traded 5 picks for Tanner Janelle. A team
just saying, dude. Like if he
picked up the phone and went,
here we go.
Okay, what for? A first? Okay, a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. And they went, are you fucking serious? And they went, I am. They were like, are you really fucking serious? And they were like, yeah, I am so serious. I want to do this. And then they did it. Like, I can't believe a team did that. How did that happen?
Yeah, while you're at it, stock up my soda machine for the rest of the year.
Seriously. Like gum or some shit, baseball style. Holy hell!
Like
their shoes.
It's valid dunking, I guess, but at the same time, I just sit here. I look at the Lightning's last 5 draft classes. They've had 2 names come out of the rounds 3 and later. They're in a contending window. Those picks don't fucking matter. Just like they didn't matter when we were good. The first and the second, it's valid. But there's also that cynic part of me that is looking at Tanner Jeannot, and I can't help but see an Alex Killorn clone if they mold it right. And they could just plug him right in as soon as Killorn falls off, which is nothing against Killorn. Killorn had a career-high in points, goals, and assists this year. He was great for the Lightning. And, like, honestly, I tipped my cap to him. I didn't think he was going to recover after getting a metal fucking rod put in his leg after the playoffs 2 years ago. But he's great. But I just can't help but seeing that Jeannot might do that still. That's the thing. Because he's got that talent. He's proven it in Nashville 2 years ago. And he had a high ankle sprain all this year. I want to point that out, too. Like, this is like when y'all shit on Foligno when he had a bad back. Like, this is – come on. Like,
might that be true?
Foligno not being hurt might not be true.
A guy still picked up the phone, called Nashville, said, I want Tanner Jeannot. And he said, for what? And he said, for 5 picks.
5 picks in the – Dude, I'm sorry. I don't see it as bad of a trade as you think it is. Granted, you've been looking at the Hawks the last 5 years like all of us have, and all those picks are usually early rounds in those. These are fucking late picks, dude. It doesn't matter. How many times do we say it with the NHL draft? After pick 16, it is a crapshoot. Who cares?
Nashville.
Like, in a vacuum, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sounds like a lot. Then you open the vacuum and you see what the trade is. I don't know, man. It's not one of those trades you can just look at on face value.
But a team still traded 5 draft picks for Tanner Jeannot. Like, it just amazes me.
You know what it reminds me of? Like,
I can't believe I'm defending the Jeannot trade like this, but it's just like, I fucking promise you, if the Leafs made this trade, you wouldn't be saying this. I fucking promise.
Would have still traded 5 picks for Tanner Jeannot.
The guy had 27 goals as a rookie or some shit, dude. It's not like he's a bum. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not like he's a bum.
I don't think he's a bum. I don't think he's bad.
The way you've been advertising, it sounds like he's a bum. I don't know.
They traded 5 picks. For Tanner Jeannot. 5. It's not like it's. I don't know. It's just
24 goals.
I'm just being blunt. I don't really think it's as big of a deal as you're making it out to be.
Oh, I don't think it's a big deal. It's just.
It's not a big deal, but you've said it like 10 times in the last 20 minutes.
It's not a big deal in their long run and everything, and it's not going to ruin their future. It's not going to change their past, but it's just crazy. It's just really.
That's what happens when you're good. You can do shit like that.
Oh, again, like I said,
you get the leash to make fucking outlandish moves. Like,
I know. I never said it. I never said. I feel like this is all being miscommunicated here.
I like how you're having more of a breakdown about this trade than like the Leafs getting rid of Dubas.
It's always the Jeannot trade, dude. It's always the fucking Jeannot trade that does this shit.
It's just such a wild trade. Again, I never said this makes their GM bad, their franchise bad. I don't think it ruins their future. I don't think it fucks up their present. It doesn't change their past. It's not that it's a bad move or anything. It's just a team traded 5 picks for Tanner Jeannot. That's incredible. I kind of like it, actually.
Do you know? Maybe that's what you were coming to grips with. The last minute, like, okay, maybe I like that. I wanted to make this point. It's like that thing where the Panthers were extending Matheson, where it's like, oh, he wanted 2 years, so he went up to 4, and they said, let's do 6 years now. Let's do 8 years. Like, that's how the trade went down. It's like, oh, you want a first? Like, yeah, let's do a second in there, too. Like, let's do that. Third or fourth and a fifth.
It is not that it is bad or that it has any kind of value or loss of value for what it is. It's just that it happened, and it's amazing to me.
I think it just shows that, like we all value mid-round picks way more than GMs do. That's all.
I'll be honest.
For God's sakes, how many times do we see a third get flipped for a fucking AHL player at the deadline? Like, I don't know, man.
Really it's amazing. Beautiful thing.
Here's the thing. Like, NFL, this is a completely different thing. If you trade 5 picks in the NFL, you're a fucking maniac. That's just how it is. Because you can draft guys in the 4th and 5th round that can be starters for you. You can't do that in the NHL.
You trade 4 or 5 picks.
So you're trading.
I think that's the Bears' first overall pick.
My only thing is just like if you're the Lightning right now and you trade your second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, right? I don't know what years they're in. I'm gonna assume they're the next 3 years. Best case scenario, your second round pick would probably make the NHL in 2026. How does that help the Lightning?
The absolute best case scenario.
Like, how does that help the Lightning right now? Genuinely. So I get the Lightning giving up all those picks. I get the Leafs giving up 2 or 3 first round picks, whatever it is. Like, I get Florida fucking selling all those picks 2 years ago, for God's sake. Like, I understand it. Like, if you are this fucking close, like some of these teams are, who gives a shit?
I wonder what they're going to do for next.
They're going to give up their 2026 first for fucking Noah Gregor. I don't know.
Keegan Colasar.
Oh my God, it's Will Carey. Holy fucking shit, it's Will Carey.
I'm going to work my way up to the NHL as a GM just so that I can trade Tanner Jeannot, trade for him. I'm going to trade 6 picks for him. I'm trading a first, a second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth for Tanner Jeannot. I'm going to do that. Give me like 2 years. I think I could do it in like 2 years.
Give me like 2 years. I think I could be an NHL GM.
I think I could do that. Like 2 years. I'd do all stuff.
What?
That'd be really fun. Well, how fucking funny would that be? I'd be like, hey, can I get Tanner Jeannot? And they'd be like, what do you want?
You know what? You know what you should.
I'll give it the whole fucking draft, dude. It'd be so funny, right? Like,
you should speed run and be like, yo, Steve Conroy said I was a good skater. I bet Marty St. Louis was.
Vlog. Trading for Tanner Jeannot speed run.
Be like, hey,
I'll give you my whole draft.
I was a good skater. I met Marty St. Louis. Now let me be a GM. I think I have.
Yeah. And I bet Steve Conroy could put in word to him. They're both Canadian, so they speak Canadian.
Yeah. I'll boot that, eh?
Yeah, can you speak Canadian? Would you be able to talk to Martin for me? Little Marty?
Oh, yeah, I can.
My boy Marty, you know.
Give him a telephone call up there, eh? And let him know that you can be on the general manager of the ice hockey team, eh? Let's go, Timmy's, eh? Get on the Polar Bears. Give him out for a ride today, eh?
And Marty, Rose wants to trade for Tanner Jeannot for like 6 picks. It may be really funny. Okay.
That would be funny, I think. Epic troll style.
That would be really funny.
I might even LMFAO a little bit. I might even Rafflecopter, if we're being honest here.
This is a beautiful ASMR if you really think about it hard enough.
You know what? I wouldn't LMFAO. I would just Rafflecopter everywhere.
Hmm?
How was that?
Oh,
For ASMR.
oh.
Well, now that we got on the Tanner Jeannot trade, and we must have spent like 20 minutes there.
I love that trade so much, dude. It's so good.
You went through
It's like the best trade of all time.
You went through the 5 stages of grief with that trade in like 20 minutes.
That trade is amazing. I love that trade so much.
If I don't know in that trade, I'll retract every statement I said if the Lightning missed the playoffs in 2025. So.
Oh my god! And they're not.
That's
they're just gonna miss the playoffs, so the Blackhawks can get like the 12th overall pick or something.
Let's go!
Let's go! I'm a Lightning fan.
Them and the Leafs are missing for the Senators and the Sabres. Let's go.
Jason Robertson tips one past Hill to open up the scoring for Dallas with 1:16 left.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna bring. Hey, you know, got an assist on the Jason Robertson goal.
Rupe
Hims.
Number 3 of the playoffs for Jason Robertson.
He knew that.
Yeah, like you said, shot right on by Hintz, deflected in. That's now 3 goals and 10 assists for Robertson in how many games?
Who cares? Rope Hintz is better. Rope Hintz has 9 goals and 10 assists in 13 games.
Well, no,
let's talk about him. Fuck Robertson.
No, he has more.
By the way, I didn't know Jake Onger was that bad. They're doing it with Jake Onger not being all that great.
Oh, he was terrible last series. But I guess that's just what the Kraken do to teams. Like, it's always goals. But if they're not asking much out of Ottinger. Just outperform Aiden Hill. Like, it's not that hard.
Roope
For the
Hintz,
Edmonton Oilers it is, though, and Winnipeg.
nicknamed the Ace of Spades. Who the when? When was that thing?
Where'd you get that information?
The
Wikipedia.
voices.
The voices.
Where I get most, but no, yeah, 20 points in 14 games so far for Hintz. That game is still only in the, well, I believe first intermission now. Yeah, good.
Jake Onger, 903 save percentage in 13 games. He is 8-5 though.
Roope Hintz, by the way,
Conference final.
the Detroit Red Wings traded a pick for Eric Cole back in, I can find out what year that was. That pick ended up being Roope Hintz.
Yeah.
Well, good job. Good job, Detroit.
Yeah, Hawks also didn't pick him, so
Yeah, they're that 2015 draft. Yeah, they won the cup.
it's almost like it's almost like they won a Stanley Cup, but still, it was bad.
Yeah, the only games they got out of that draft was Dennis Gilbert, and they played not a lot. Aiden Hill, 219 goals against average and a 934 save percent.
I lied so hard. Did I lie so hard? I think I did.
What are you lying about?
Maybe.
Why you always lying? You know, like
I was so sure he was a Detroit pick that was traded to Dallas. He may not have been. Oh, well,
I think you were thinking about Matthias Janmark, my good sir.
Well, I know Janmark was a Detroit pick. Well, he was picked by Detroit and then went to. Where was Yarncroke? I don't know anything actually. Let's just not just talk. I'm not. Just talk. Just say things. I'm not.
Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Okay. Dallas, Vegas. What do we think happens here?
I think I tweeted this out earlier this week. Once the conference finals got announced, my heart really wants the Hurricanes to win this cup for some reason. I feel like if they win it without Svechnikov, that is just like it's like when the Lightning won without Stamkos. You know what I mean? Like that'll be the year you get over the hump, because of course it is, because that's how hockey works. And also, like, I don't know,
that's how
man.
Sports work, man. Sometimes
they're getting depth scoring from all over the place. I would love to see Brett Burns get a cup, but also
Carolina has a few guys like that. Like Paul Stastny hasn't won a cup. I think Derek
Stepan hasn't won a cup.
Yeah.
But like my heart says Carolina, but my brain's saying Dallas. It's just the way. Like Dallas is going to win this cup this year. They are rolling four lines in a way that I didn't think was possible going into the Kraken series, and after coming out of the Kraken series, it is clear as day to me that they can go line for line with any team in the league, which they're going to need if they go up against Florida or Carolina, who have the tendency to go four lines deep every fucking game.
Oh.
And also, I think Dallas's talent level is leaps and bounds above every other team left in this final. Like their top end talent, their depth talent, like their third line, I think is better than Vegas. It's like second line and Carolina's first line at times. Like it's that good. So
you have
I didn't lie.
With the Stars, they have the recipe for success. You have the goalie, you have the number one defenseman, you have the number one winger with Robinson, you now have a certified number one center with Roope Hintz, and then you have Tyler Seguin is depth, Jamie Benn is depth. Like those guys aren't the main guys anymore. Joe Pavelski is there. Wyatt Johnston scored the game-winning goal against Seattle, which was one of the most beautiful goals I've ever seen in the playoffs. And then your defenseman, you have Heiskanen, and like he's the guy. Thomas Harley has stepped up. Like they have so much depth, and like they still have pieces on the way. Like the way that they've built up their organization. Like a few years back, it was Ben and Seguin. They still have them, but now you have a whole new core. And just looking at Dallas, they're obviously in our division. And looking back at that 2017 draft, they got Heiskanen, I think, third overall. They got him third overall. They got Jake Onger, obviously, with the Blackhawks pick. We can debate what I talk about, whatever. And then they got Jason Robertson with their second round pick. Like you get just Heiskanen. That's a great draft. But like now you add in Onger at the end of the first, and then Jason Robertson, a guy who casually just scored 100 points and might be a heart guy.
Robertson was from that same draft.
Mm-hmm.
All
three. You got Robertson, Ottinger, and Heiskanen in the same draft. I pray to God the Hawks have a draft like that.
That's where I was going to go with. Like,
That is unbelievable.
You will win the draft regardless, having Connor Bedard first overall. Like,
you found your defenseman, your goalie, and your winger. The top.
And we traded him the pick for the goalie too. Anyways, sorry.
I feel like getting Connor Bedard, that's like a 2 or 3 run home run, you know. But like if you get another good player in there, that's like grand slam out of the park kind of thing. Like you can really.
There are players in this draft that can be that. So
this draft is set up to where you can get 3 damn good forwards right out the chute, and honestly, with the rest of those seconds, you can go play with. I need you to hit on 1. I need you to hit on 19. I need you to hit on one of those 4 seconds, and I am happy as a clam. Like
if they get 3 players from this draft class, like Bedard's going to be a transformational player. But if you can get like, I don't know, 2 top 6, top 9, like 1 top 6, 1 top 9 guy.
Let's just keep it low. Let's get 3 NHL caliber players this draft. How about that? I'm not saying they're fucking world beaters. I'm not saying they're 4th liners. I'm just saying let's get 3 NHL players. Like I think Piers and I have talked about it. Like I feel like my personal favorite scenario would be like Bedard at 1. I don't know if you need to trade up a couple picks to get him, but get Gabe Perreault. I feel like that's the next guy we should get to pair with.
Perreault's interesting because I feel like he might go high because he's gotten a lot of hype recently, but then you just always see on draft day guys that with
They're
that kind of exactly size profile, they fall down always.
Honestly, Perreault is just my personal favorite from the development program at the moment. Perreault, but like any of those guys, Moore, Leonard, I don't think Will Smith drops far enough for us to get him. But like, if there's a world where that happens, I'm not gonna fucking complain. Let's just put it that way.
I think.
Sorry.
There is a scenario where they could also get Matvei Michkov. I think the trade they would make would be with the Capitals because if Matvei Michkov drops, he's not getting past Washington. I know for a fact Washington will take him. If you can trade like number 19 and your high second, and maybe you take one of their contracts.
Take Tampa's first next year. I don't know.
Yeah, literally, and you get like Mantha back or something as like a sweetener, or like for them like to entice them to trade that pick. Do it and get Michkov. Like you already got Connor Bedard. If for whatever worst case scenario Michkov never plays in the NHL, like I think that's definitely a risk worth taking. But then they can also be patient and have someone follow them at 19 because
here's like Quentin Musty or something. Like there's great so players there. Chris Saul might fall in 19 for God's sake.
That's my dream scenario if they stay in place. Like hell, they don't have a defenseman that falls to them. I remember I was listening to Mike Donahue, the director of scouting. He was saying like, yeah, we had this draft in mind in the last draft. That's why we got Korchinski and Renzel, because we knew that there wasn't that many caliber defensemen, and that works in the Blackhawks' favor this draft because of course you're getting Bedard first overall. But there's going to be teams that jump up on Reinbacher. There's another defenseman that's
Sandin Pellikka,
on Willander. Like I bet a team will take a chance on Dragicevic, and that will only work in the Blackhawks' favor because there's going to be a run on defenseman, and that's going to leave forwards to fall. Whether they trade up or stay at 19, they're going to get another guy who can at least be a top 6 role.
Hell, I'd even throw like Strawback and Tanner Melenduk in there, or how do you pronounce
I think they're more at the end of the first round, but again,
you know what I mean, though.
Teams are going to go high on defenseman because there isn't much, and it's always that premium position.
They always do. 2019, there was only 1, and there were 3 there was almost 4 that went in the first top 15. I want to say.
Yeah, Byram 4th, Sider went 6th, and then I think Broberg went 8th.
And Soderstrom went like 11th in that one too. Yeah. So like, there's a history of GMs doing that, which is going to benefit the Hawks, like you said.
Oh, there's a huge track record.
Like if we can get one of those guys at 19, get Bedard, and then like the 3 guys I would want at 35 right now. I don't even think any of them fall there, but like Grayson Sawchyn, Jaden Perron, Alex Chernak. I'm a very big fan of Alex Chernak. I've been since I caught a couple of his like highlights on YouTube, but then like I watched.
He's a good transition guy.
And he would fit right in with how they play. And like Sawchyn, I feel like it'd be a 2-way guy if you want to go that route.
Kind of like Paul Lewinsky build.
Exactly. And like you can never have too many of those guys, especially if you're picking around there. And then Jaden Perron, I think, has top 6 upside. Personally, I think he is. What he's doing with what he's doing in the USHL is very special.
And not to mention like the Blackhawks have how many prospects playing on the Thunderbirds right now? Oh man, You can even argue that
Doc just got his portrait painted next to Keith and Draisaitl.
No way,
Toronto
really?
Rockets
I need to see that.
as a
Are
legacy
they playing
player.
tonight? Because I don't think they played last night.
I'm not sure. Korchinski had a laser beam though a couple games ago.
He did
Or
have
the last game.
Okay, so it is tonight. They're playing. I think they're in warm-ups right now. So they must
Oh
play.
boy.
Yeah, and they can win tonight. Crazy. But yeah, the more I think about the draft, the more I've been like researching and just like looking at guys and like thinking if they fall or if they get this guy on the side. Like it's just it's so much fun. And then we're gonna be able to do this next year because they're gonna have 2 more first-round picks. I think they have 2 seconds next year. Like they're set up.
I'd have to imagine they're still picking top 10 next year unless Bedard is even better than anyone even thinks he's going to be. Then they're probably picking in the teens. But
Oh no, we got to pick in the teens now, and we have Bedard. And we have
we're all like 12th and get.
Maggie agrees.
Yeah, we're gonna get like Carl Sterner or something.
Yeah, so many good prospects. Definitely looking forward to it. I think that's about it. Unless we want to talk more about the draft, we can kind of. Oh, here's one thing we didn't talk about. So, now Toronto Maple Leafs are now in the market for looking for a GM, and we kind of mentioned it earlier. There's a few other teams that are doing the same as well. This tweet from Frank Seravalli a few hours later. Hang on, I gotta pull it up because I did not have it pulled up. This is so good, you guys. Frank Seravalli. You know what? I'm just gonna look up his name. Oh, and another thing about the whole Kyle Dubas thing, Jason Spezza put in his resignation just to add, salt to it.
Yeah, I'd hope Dwight Schrute put in his letter of resignation after Michael Scott got fired. Jesus. I'm sorry. Like, after I found out what Spezza's role is, he's so assistant to the regional general manager or whatever. Like, Jesus Christ.
He has that plaque in his office, too.
I hope so. God, better fucking frame it after that. Jeez. But also, like, Spezza, known Dubasite, left with Dubas. Strongest Dubasite out there.
When the strongest Dubasite fell is when we knew it was true.
It's like that picture of Squidward talking to the kid, and it's like Jason Spezza, Squidward, we're to leave the franchise. We're to kill you. From Frank Seravalli. Hearing the Flames are in final stages of their GM search. Announcement next week. Believe 4 external candidates visited YYC, which, if you didn't know, that's the airport code for Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And last week for in-person interviews, which included, can you guess one of the names?
I'm going to go with a bald-headed fuck that ruined our favorite franchise. We're
He
talking about
shall
coaches
not
and
be
GMs
named.
here. Sorry.
Oh, general managers.
Oh, yeah. So we're talking about the bald-headed fuck.
That's another thing. They don't have a coach either.
Yeah, let's talk about the bald-headed fuck who ruined our franchise for the last half-decade. We'll go with him. Why not?
Yeah, he's one of the names.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Here,
He's totally getting the job.
former Blackhawks GM. Here's a former Leafs GM. Dave Nonis is on the list.
Their list is actually like special. Like it's not. It is a work of art. I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
The funniest thing is like
How did
including
you get-
Nonis, Stan Bowman, and Mark Bergevin.
They covered. Just get Peter Chiarelli. You'll get the 4 horsemen of terrible GMs. Like Jesus.
Mount Rushmore of bad GMs.
Oh my god.
That has what?
And Chiarelli's
who's
interviewing
the
with the
fourth one?
Penguins,
So
I'm pretty sure.
Bergevin, Bowman,
Same with Bowman. Yeah.
Bergevin, Bowman, Nonis. Who's the fourth one?
Okay, so those are the 3 names. I like. Frank Seravalli did this on purpose. He listed those names, and then underneath he's like, "Oh, if we were handicapping, odds-on favorite would be Craig Conroy."
Yeah, well, Craig Conroy's not getting it because I want to laugh. So
I can't believe they. How do you pick some of the
And
worst
the whole-
options available?
The whole situation of Brad Treliving, where they parted ways, but he can't like interview with a team.
give your head a
until, I think,
fucking
yeah.
shake. This league sucks. Like I hate it. Oh my god.
You
That
got
shit.
you got Bowman and Bergevin, and you reached all the way back to the Dave Nonis well? Dave Nonis? Really? That's the guy you need? Okay. Well, okay. Sure. Why not?
Dead. I'm dead. Dave Notice?
I think that one took me for a fucking spin.
You just had like a flashback of everything that happened. And you were like, Dave Notice?
It's like the reverse Ratatouille meme.
It's like
Instead of going back,
going back to worse times. Yeah.
Jesus.
How?
So yeah, that's a thing. And it's I'm like, oh, I wrote it down, and this list includes these players. He was like, no, they have 4, and he listed 4 general manager candidates, and he listed those 4 off. And as for
didn't the Ducks interview like 600 head coaches too?
Yeah, I think the exact number was 468 or 69.
Okay.
Whatever that's the one where it was like they interviewed 386.
I can confirm I was one of them.
Dude, they're gonna do
breaking
all
news
that
on the
shit.
pod.
They interviewed fucking all.
They use Indeed, bro.
Crazy. Ugh, terrible.
Apply with Indeed.
I can't believe offensively Mason McTavish are gonna get ruined by like Peter Laviolette or some shit.
Like
what route is Pat Verbeek gonna go with that? Jesus.
At least we know we have a GM and a head coach that are both good.
I think I may have interviewed for GM of the Anaheim Ducks.
They're like, "Can you skate fast enough? Did you talk to Marty St. Louis?" Oh, there you go. You're on the list.
Yeah. There you go.
Can't wait till Chris Kunitz is a head coach.
He has 4 Stanley Cups, an Olympic gold medal. How are you going to argue against that?
The experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like that made Wayne Gretzky a great head coach.
Yes.
In Phoenix, no less. But yeah, so Stan Bowman being on the list, I don't know why.
You got it wrong.
I don't know for what any perspective you would be like, yeah, let's get Stan Bowman as our general manager. Like, one, all the stuff that happened in 2010, and 2, he's just a terrible, no good GM. He's awful.
Listen, the hockey men don't have morals. We know this.
Oh, they all sell their soul to the devil to win the Stanley Cup.
Stan Bowman won Stanley Cups. You can point to that. Mark Bergevin, his team has gone to the finals and showed continued success. You can point to that.
By the way, it was part of the
2010.
I'm so glad.
That would leave you. I got the guy with Stanley Cup experience.
Oh, you're gonna get even more pissed, buddy. You know what? I'm gonna cut you off now, Rose. Go read what I just sent you on Twitter. Read it out loud for the class.
Read it for the audience.
Read it for the class so you can hear it. Because this was 4 minutes ago from Dom Lucian. And it's literally about what we're talking about, but with the
Dom Lucian says every single option here is in the I am going to puke level of downgrade. And here's the quote. Let it be said here that Brad Treliving is now the favorite to replace him as Leafs GM because
not bad. I mean, I think
a few obvious options. Shanahan's requirements that having an experienced general manager would be an attractive quality. The others that fall into that category are fuck.
So
Mark Bergevin.
Just wait till the last one.
Peter Chiarelli. Oh wow, fuck me. Okay. I looked. Chuck Fletcher. Ray Shiro. Oh, we reached into the.
We're going into the dark depths of hell with this.
Wait. Ron Hextall. Jim Benning.
We haven't brought him up yet.
Notice.
Gotta be like the most unhinged list of GM names I've ever seen in my life.
I'm done podcasting.
Dude, if they go from Kyle Dubas to Chuck Fletcher, like just pack it up. Go be a full-time Hawks fan again. I promise you'll have more fun. Jesus.
Unironically, who do you think is the best? No, excluding Brad Trilla, because he's clearly the best guy on that list. But the guys at the bottom, who is the best one?
Maybe Ray Shiro? Like, maybe he's the best one?
No, he's not. No.
At least Jim Benning could draft. I mean, he's got that going for him.
They're all bad. Every one of them is bad at their job as being a GM at the NHL level. They're not good. They're bad.
Dude,
they're good.
Imagine telling someone.
There's not a best option. There are options.
I'm sorry. Like, imagine telling anyone a month ago the Leafs are going to win their first playoff round in 20 years, and then they're going to fire their GM and interview Peter Chiarelli for the role.
Monkey paw.
Unbelievable clown show. I can't believe the Leafs became a boys club overnight. Holy fuck, they are so getting Chuck Fletcher if they're a boys club now.
Stop
Chuck Fletcher is the ultimate yes man, dude. Are you kidding me? If Shanny wants his fucking paws on this org, you go get Chuck Fletcher.
A literal puppet. It's a muppet.
Yeah,
Fuck, this is not a good situation. I'm sorry, like every time I get a new wrinkle out of this Leafs Kyle Dubas situation, it gets worse. Every single time. Gets worse. Sorry, Pierce.
Chuck Fletcher.
Fuck, the Blue Jays lost. Anyways, another Toronto disaster clause.
Why? Where the fuck did he come from? Where was he?
David Otis has been sitting in his bat cave for 10 years waiting for this moment.
He went to me.
He really is Bruce. He really is Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne.
You know what it is? It's literally Dave Notice sitting in his living room, and it's like the Green Goblin mask.
It's literally Spider-Man No Way Home, dude. Oh my god! It's like, oh, bro, don't worry. We're gonna have all these great like nostalgia riddled things. Let's add nostalgia to hockey too. Let's go get Dave Notice. And the fact that he's up for multiple GM roles is the problem. It's not just the Leafs. It's the Flames. It's the Penguins. What the fuck? Terrible. I'm so glad the Hawks declined anyone to get Jeff Greenberg. Fuck off. Like, you guys need to go find your own problem.
Hiding in the shadows.
I'm right here. Looking at Phil Kessel as Austin Matthews in the portrait. So the Leafs situation has now become Succession and Spider-Man 1. Let's fucking go! Oh, if only they did this on... Oh my god, they're going to fire Keith on Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving, and it's going to be just like Spider-Man 1. They're not going to hire Quinville, James. They're not going to... Bros, they're not going to fucking do that. Apologies. Fuck. They're not going to do that.
I'm being facetious on that one, but...
I much more believe they're going to sign
by the end of the year. Keith is gone by the end of the year. I say that because I think Shanahan is. I think Shanahan realized what power, like what he can do now. I think he's sick of it. And
he's gone. He's not getting kept. There's no way. Did you hear him talk in those exit interviews, bro? That's like a dog with his tail between his legs. He's done. He's done. And it sucks because he hasn't really done anything to get fired besides get out coached in that series. So I guess it is a fireable offense.
No, Keith. Here's the thing.
That's a fireable offense. Now that I think about it, but like,
listen, man. With Keith, he's not a bad coach necessarily. He's just not the guy who should be
a great coach either.
That's what I think. That's how I see it. He's a good coach. You don't win cups with good coaches. You win cups with great coaches. I don't think he fits that bill yet.
Is Sheldon Keefe just like a really Sheldon Keefe just a really overseasoned Jeremy Colleton?
Sheldon Keefe, dude, he's not
like on face value, he's not terrible, but then you dig in a little more, and it's just like, I don't know, man. The way y'all talk about Keefe the last 3 years, it sounds like he's fucking terrible. So
I've always
not you. I'm talking Leafs fans as a you all thing.
Yeah,
I've seen Leafs Nation crap on this dude since 2021. Like,
it's because that's them just getting mad at anything that's in front of them. I mean, losing to the Jackets, that was offense on its own, but it was his first season. You know, you can't just go, okay, one
series. Third season. He didn't get a full training camp. This team till his third season.
Yeah,
that I will give him. Like, I give Carlton that too, because Carlton didn't get a full camp.
Well, Carlton, as much like he was never going to.
Carlton got one full camp and had the worst NHL start in recorded history. So fuck that guy. And fuck that.
He had two of the worst starts, actually, because he sucked in 1920, too. God, I hate Chicago. I'm so glad we're not in that era anymore. I hope for your mental sanity, the Leafs don't do stuff that was as unfathomably dumb as the Hawks did on the turn of the downfall.
It's coming. It's coming, baby.
It's coming, and I feel terrible for every Leafs fan because they don't even know. Like, they thought trading Kessel and shit hurt. Just wait till Matthews holds you at the coals and walks in a year. That's going to hurt more than anything. Especially knowing you got the guy who did that to the Islanders.
Trading Kessel.
Oh, taste of your own medicine. Oh, man.
Stop.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like that. It's just this is the world we live in.
No, you're fine. I just...
You took away Austin Matthews' yes man. He's going to be pissed.
If Islanders fans get another reason...
Marner, same with Nylander, blah, blah, blah.
Well, Marner can fuck himself. But Matthews, you took away your, fucking leverage, which was a problem. Mm-hmm. That's the one where I get pissed at. Marner gives a fuck. 99 points, over point a game in the playoffs. I don't care. It's just, I'm over it.
Doesn't show up when he's supposed to.
Matthews didn't have a goal in the second round. He had 40-something shots in 5 games. He wasn't a ghost, that's for sure.
Marner will do everything literally besides score a goal when it matters.
And I get it. He had a goal in the second round. It's more than... This team sucks.
He does not realize it. He does not realize it, but him being traded somewhere else will help him infinitely more than playing in Toronto. You can't have it.
I'm sorry. I'm going to make Rose feel better. Because Brian just tagged me in one of the funniest posts I think I've ever seen. And this is relating to the Coyotes. We're going back a little. So, on that post where the Coyotes are like, oh, 20,000 likes over our new stadium plans. Brian just goes, I bet they're going to try to use this as a selling point to say they could sell out a game. And I'm just like, oh!
Damn, all right.
Joke of a league. Joke of a league, joke of an organization. Fuck, man. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's all so bad. It's all so bad. Rose, I'm just so fucking glad that your team has a home as of this moment. Because at least
they know where they're playing next year.
At least they don't have to deal with relocation. Because
holy shit. Piss. I'm not really that excited.
What?
It said shit versus piss.
It's not great, but it's just it could be worse.
I'm not.
They're both really bad in their own regards.
Listen, if we missed out on Bedard, I think I'd be very down. But I'm just with the Leafs. I've been through this enough times. What's another heartbreak? I'm genuinely this is shaking. This is shaking so many pure Leafs fans that only watch the Leafs. I'm lucky that I've had the Blackhawks to fall back onto. When I first started watching hockey, they happened to be good. And when the Hawks started to be shit, the Leafs decided to be good in the regular season. Who knows? Maybe this all works out. But it probably fucking won't. So, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, great. Don't know.
You want to close it out there?
I didn't mean to
make it shitting on the Leafs for the last 20 minutes. But
I honestly.
Who do you feel more confident in right now, the Hawks or the Leafs?
At this point, they got the first round win. I mean, they did a thing. I'm happy. I'm just kind of apathetic with this team now.
You should be.
Here's a better question for you: who wins the Stanley Cup first, this Blackhawks team or the Leafs?
If the Hawks have two different regimes win a cup before the Leafs win a cup, I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
I'm gonna fucking smoke a bowl. I don't fucking know.
I think we should wrap it up on that.
Hang on. We got Twitter questions. I think we have one.
Finding Twitter questions. Finding Twitter questions. Oh my God, Rose is dead again, guys. Welcome to another episode of This Is War.
Anyways, the Leafs invaded. Bros have a mental collapse again. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing.
Oh no!
Scenes and behind the scenes.
I give it 5 Michael Buntings out of 6.
Not Michael Bunting.
You know what? The question is dumb, anyways. It's just who would be a good hire for all the teams needing gyms? Like it's two coaches. It's just too broad. So you know what?
Sorry, say that again.
The question from Zach. I appreciate him asking the question. It's such a broad question. Who would be a good hire for all the teams needing GMs and coaches, /coaches, whatever?
Kyle Dubas. Move on.
Why? What happened?
You're a bastard. You're a good bastard.
Oh, I know. I'm burning in hell. Anyways. Oh, goodness. What a podcast. All right.
This podcast is ruining my life.
Wow, you should write a book about that, I think.
Add a couple chapters about the zoo while you're at it.
No, you should write a chapter on how Steve Conroy called you a great skater, and then one chapter will be you meeting Marty St. Louis at Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, those 2 moments motivated me to make, not to make, but to, help create this podcast. So truly, I don't know what without that.
God bless Martin St. Louis.
God bless Martin St. Louis for responding to me while I go, I watched you play. I'm a big fan. While working at a Dunkin' Donuts. Good on him for handling another wild fan. Just.
So do we actually have any questions?
Oh, the only question was which team? I don't remember. It was something Jim.
Ask it again so I can answer it. Ask it.
I'm sorry. This just it's a fucking desperate. Ask it so I can answer it. Let's go.
Who would be a good hire for all the teams needing GM/coach?
Kyle Dubas. It's literally.
It's Widowy Kyle Dubas.
Widowy Kyle Dubas.
He is the best option out there for every fucking team. No, I'm not apathetic. It's starting to hit.
I'm gonna go with Spencer Carberry for head coaches. Sounds like he's getting a lot of attention, especially in Washington.
What organization is he with, may I ask?
The Toronto Maple Leafs. I am going to put him as my head coaching favorite at the moment. GM, I'm going to go with the curveball. I think we've seen this guy in the final 3 on GMs, at least on 3 separate occasions. I think Matthew Darche finally gets a crack somewhere.
Stan Darche. I was actually thinking Eric Tulsky.
Tulsky, I feel like that's the popular pick, but I don't know, man. Darche was a finalist with the Hawks too. People forget that.
He was, yeah. That's true.
He's gonna get a look somewhere eventually, and I'm very curious to see where that is because he's gonna do some damage somewhere. I think. I like everything I've read on this guy. It sounds like he's ready to get the keys.
Ooh, so you think you're ready to be a GM?
Okay, Mr. Darche. Let's see what you can do.
Dave Nonis.
Dave Nonis and Mike Babcock. There are your names. Oh, I'm sorry, Rose. It's a dark time. Hey, but the Hawks got Bedard, so who gives a shit?
I have Bedard, and I have the front page of the newspaper sometimes of when they got the pick. So that's going to be a sick frame.
That's actually fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's a school shooting on the other side of the paper, but I might just...
I mean, you just make sure it's not see-through. Then we're good.
38 is the number of days I have until I fly into Chicago.
Let's go!
Let's go! Let's absolutely go!
And we're gonna meet new Toronto GM Dave Nonis.
We're gonna get an interview with them.
Hey, we're gonna see Dave Nonis make the draft pick with Boston's first round pick that they got with.
No, they're trading it to the Blackhawks to take on Matt Murray's contract. Sorry.
Hi, Dave. Fuck you.
Already saw the future on that one, boys.
Hi, Dave. Fuck you. Hi, Dave. Fuck you.
It was like when I saw Darren Dreger. We should have just shot him and killed him.
God, Dregs is on the phone. Dregs is on the phone, probably kissing some GM's ass, too. That's the worst part.
Oh my god, that guy is carrying enough water to fill an Olympic pool. Holy
Bro, he's posting about Quenneville and Bowman. Like, give your head. Anyways.
It's one thing to tweet about them. It's one thing to be like, oh, they're just to determine their status. They're getting interviewed. Okay, what for? What happened? What happened, Darren? Why did they have to get interviews to like determine their status? This is from Frank Saravelli. Leafs have notified all 31 other teams to contact Brandon Pridham in the interim for any personnel decisions after GM Kyle Dubas was not renewed. I saw was not removed, and I'm like, what the hell? And yeah, so we're at that point. We're at that point of the playoffs. Like the first round is so crazy, and then round two, you have a couple games on every night, but then once you get to like the third round, especially the Cup final, there's days where you have one game. There's days where you're gonna have when we get the Cup final. There's gonna be 2 days off in between some games. They're gonna be.
We already had 2 days off.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, yeah. And there's gonna be a lot of scuttlebutt. There's gonna be a lot of tire kicking, all that stuff. And oh boy, is this gonna be a next fun 5 to 6 weeks?
Fun time to be a Blackhawk fan. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean,
my favorite's when I have people in my mentions trying to bring me down, and it's just like, listen, I get the human side, but like, you're not bringing me down. Sorry, it's not happening. I have been in a terrible mood about this team for like at least 7 years, and I'm finally starting to come out of it.
This is the best I feel about the Blackhawks since like probably 2016 or even 2015.
Yeah, since I had Panarin, that's for sure. I had a lot of false hope in 2019. I'll say that much.
Oh, I did too, dude.
I thought they could turn it around, but they can't play defense, so it's all right. We're new era. We're good.
That's all in the past now.
Let the past die. Kill it if you need to. Kyle Davidson has fucking shipped off Kane Taves.
Literally order 66 with Kyle Davidson.
It's so fucking true, dude. He literally executed every asset that he possibly could. Because you can't really get rid of Warts unless he sells the team, unfortunately.
More.
I would love that, honestly.
If he's never going to now. Fuck. All right. Whatever. Oh, well.
Count your blessings, I say.
Can't win them all.
No. Thank you all for tuning in to our great, wonderful podcast. If you're listening to this great, wonderful podcast on your preferred podcast platform, be sure to give us a 5-star rating. If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, give us a like and even a subscribe. And if you really like us that much, I would turn on the bell notification so you don't miss a new podcast ever. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Rose and Dylan, it was fun doing this with y'all, and we shall commence another time.